Hey guys, Zangetsu 134 here, bringing you another My Hero Academia vlog review. This time of My Hero Academia Season 3, Episode 10. The, f- the fight begins between All Might and All for One as we see Midoriya and company rescue Bakugo. So yeah, no, this was a really good episode. I loved it. It was very well done. I loved the fights, the fight between All for One and All for One and All Might starting. I liked seeing Gran Torino show up with him. I liked seeing Best Genius like show off how good he is. I actually liked seeing Mount Lady actually be mildly more heroic than she normally is instead of being an obnoxious brat. Uh, she actually ends up getting her nose broken, protecting the kids. And so I really like it, and I like that she learned a little something from Best Genist. I liked a lot of the stuff in here. I actually really liked the part with Endeavor where Endeavor's like, "Idiot, go! I've got this." Like I normally I don't I have a big hate on uh for Endeavor, but I actually really like that scene just because I think even Endeavor can put aside his pettiness for like a moment. So it proves he's a hero. So yeah, I really like this episode. I think the animation was really really well done. Other than the really weird animation they did for Bakugo's like flying up in the air to get caught by Kirishima. That part was super weird looking. Cause literally like Bakugo doesn't like leap like he normally does. He just sort of like launches himself into the air with the explosions, but he doesn't use his legs, and he just sort of flies like a plank of wood. I've actually seen a lot of memes of that since the episode came out, but it was so funny. That was a really goofy animation choice. Like, and I kind of get it because they were using the same animation style they used for when Todoroki first used his flames for the first time in the sports festival, and there it looked really cool because because it was just Todoroki's arm, like flicking the fire forward, and it worked, and and like Midoriya looked fine in that animation as well because he was leaping and actually like flying through the air. It was just weird because it looked like Bakugo just was like they took him in Photoshop and just threw him using the move tool. Um, I probably should spit my gum out while I was before I started this, but I ate garlic for lunch, so well, not garlic, but I made garlic butter noodles for lunch and had two garlic breadsticks to go with it. So my breath is quite rank. You probably didn't need to know that, but in case a vampire attacks me at some point, I can at least breathe on them. So that was a weird. I really like the episode. I really like Midoriya's plan because he really does prove to Yaoyorozu that they could do this without fighting, even though that really was kind of and it's like a stupid plan since obviously they by all rights they shouldn't have been able to do so, but they did. We finally get a full explanation for Magni's quirk, that of he can magnetize things, men become South Poles and women become North Poles. For some reason, Magni unfortunately can't himself. I actually think that that's a reference to the fact that he's transsexual. Um, he's male, but they always call him by female terms such as Big Sister Magni, and other of his gender preferred pronouns, which I actually really like. I like that he's a transgender character in anime and doesn't look like Mr. Two from One Piece. Like, I love One Piece, but their portrayal of Okama and like transgender males are a little much because every one of them look like a drag queen. And what if there's anything wrong with that? I'm just saying, every transgender has to be a drag queen in fiction. Thank you. But yeah, we see this with the fact that like men get a blue color, whereas women, like in this episode, Toga, and in I think the earlier episodes during the camp arc, we see the color difference with Mandalay in that she's red. In the original manga, they actually didn't show like a magnetic aura about them. That was clearly added in for our purposes so that we could see the quirk activating. Much like how Midoriya's quirk actually doesn't glow through his veins like it does in the anime. I actually like that the anime does stuff like that. Um, it's not like how Naruto's Rasengan was normally blue in the anime, but in the manga it was yellow. So that when Kishimoto made the Naruto the Last film, for some reason Naruto's Rasengans were suddenly colored yellow. And oh yeah, no, that's a thing that that people cannot stand, or that people had problems with that film when it first came out because they did the manga's coloring. I mean, it's not like Bulma's hair changing colors like in Dragon Ball, but it's kind of close. I think really though that was because the lavender color was a lot harder for them to use back in the days before digital paint. So yeah. Yeah, I really like that part. We get to see a little bit more of One For All's abilities, such as he can forcibly activate people's quirks even when they're unconscious. He can combine quirks. We also get more of an extent of how his warp quirk or his teleportation quirk that he has works, and that he can only draw stuff. He can draw and push stuff away from him using the warp. So he had to activate Kurogiri's warp gate quirk because it's much more precise and can take them a greater distance because it's a warp gate, not just a. Basically, his is like the portals in Portal, where like he can create points, but like he has to like know where you are, and he can only do so from like a lot smaller distances. We get more of the relationship between All Might and and All For One, in that like clearly All For One sees Hero Society much differently than others, because he sees All Might not really as a hero, because he basically, his heroism was built on the death of his, well, probably not death, but the defeat of his comrades in a pile of losses at All Might's feet, so that he looked simply like the number one hero, which is all a point of view, and that's one of the bigger parts of the show, is just how everyone views heroism differently. For instance, the fact that Class 1A, they all have their own ideals on what it means to be a hero. And also the fact that all of them are fans of All Might in a one way or the other, and they clearly view All Might from their own perspective. In fact, we see that from everyone, and we get to see that with All For One. He clearly views All Might and those who carry his brother's quirk as, and yes, this is All For One. Like, for those of you who are only joining us in this season or didn't really understand the explanation All Might gives, All For One legitimately is the brother of the first user of One For All. He has a quirk that allows him to live a much longer lifespan than normal people, as this is like 4 generations. So like it's arguable that like he's like maybe a century or two old, as like there have been multiple users of his quirk, or since there have been at least 9 users of One For All. We have no idea how long some of them have lived. We get introduced to Nana Shimura. We actually learn All Might's successor or predecessor. Her name was Nana Shimura, which her name has 7 in it. Technically, you can see the numbering for which user they are in their names, such as Midoriya Izuku has the number 10 in his name if you write it, like, I think in kanjis. Much like Toshinori Yagi has the number 9. He's the 9th successor, and Midoriya is the 10th, I think. Yeah, he's the 10th. No, he's the 9th. I take it back. Izuku is the 9th, and Toshinori is the 8th. I take that back. Yeah, I think if you like spell their names out phonetically, like you can kind of get the number. Much like how like everyone's name has like a meaning to it, like Mina Ashido, her last name is clearly Acid. Bakugo has the word explosion in his name. Uraraka's name means light, or light personality, for her anti-gravity ability. But and we learn about how like his successor also fought All For One, and how, like, there's clearly some bad blood between the three of them, as well as the fact that All Might clearly has had enough of just All for One in general. But yeah, we also have a really nice moment where we see that, like, just how much Tomura cares about All for One, how he sees him more as, like, a father than, like, a mentor, like Izuku and All Might's relationship. Although we still have yet to see what exactly happened with Tomura to make him the way he is, and why All for One found him. But, but yeah, it was a really good, it was a really touching, poignant moment for, like, one of the villains. Like, I actually felt sorry for Tomura a little, because he clearly knew that All for One might die in this battle. And of course, we get the ending where All Might's clearly starting to run out of steam with his quirk. He's clearly reaching his time limit. And that he's running out of time, basically. And the problem is he's actually forcing his quirk to keep going. And as we'll see, this is going to have a big detriment. But yeah, no, I think this was a really good episode. I really like the animation. I like seeing Midoriya actually think out a plan that, even in spite of the fear he feels, like, he's going to save Bakugo because he failed before, and if he can't save Bakugo, how can he expect to be a hero? It was a really, really good moment, and I'm glad to glad to see, like, Midoriya and the others actually come through with their plan. And I was loving Gran Torino's like, oh, he's getting more and more like you every day, Toshinori, in a bad way. Because they broke laws. They clearly broke rules, even though they did so in a way that wasn't getting into a big fight, basically. Which we'll see that they'll still have repercussions in this arc, or at least they'll be told what the repercussions should have been for breaking the law like they did. Although, in my opinion, I feel like that law is a little bit more lenient than they would say. Like, if for some reason, like, a building was going to collapse on you and a bunch of other people, and use your quirk to, like, make the rock, like, float or fall away from you in a way that didn't hurt anybody, I feel like they'd be more lenient on it, just because it was a fight or flight response, and they let you off with a warning or maybe, like, a citation. But I doubt they would put you in jail for. But then again, it's really weird, because I think they want to point out how restrictive the world is with the use of quirks, but at the same time, they're not. Because, like, as Aizawa said in very early on, it's really stupid that, like, from elementary to middle school, they make it so you can't use your quirks. So when you get to high school, you basically have to learn to strengthen your quirk. Whereas if you were strengthening and learning to build your quirk wisely, you would become a much better pro much quicker in high school, even if they do push you very far. And while it's true, a lot of the kids in 1A have been training with their quirks all their lives, they still have to do so in a way that doesn't get them in trouble, which I think is the most frustrating thing about this society, in my opinion, just because of how limiting it is to learning to use your quirks wisely. But still, in general, I think this was a good episode, and I'm really looking forward to the next couple, especially because I'm curious to see how long they can make the fight between All Might and One for All, or All for One, last. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm curious to see if it'll go on past this next episode. I feel like it could. I feel like this could be a 3-parter, but I'm just not entirely sure. Just with how well they seem to they seem to trim the fat, basically. But that's going to be it for this episode, guys. Look forward to the Kamen Rider vlog sometime later on this week when I get a chance to find a copy of the episode subbed. But until then, guys, I am Zangetsu 134, and I will catch you next time. Till then, take care.